guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Annie and today we're covering all things legal journey. I get so many questions on my TikTok, on my Instagram, and I get so many emails asking me about my legal journey, and a lot of this I think I've covered in like my TikTok page or my Instagram page and also on like older YouTube videos. But obviously they are dated, so I thought I'd come on here, talk about my legal journey and also talk about the ways in which you can qualify as a solicitor in the UK. I will use the term lawyer because I work in-house and any legal advisor in-house is called lawyer, and so I refer to myself as a lawyer. Just to clarify, I'm a qualified solicitor. I can't speak on the barrister profession because it's not the career that I pursued, but anything I talk about in this video is talking about a journey into qualifying as a solicitor because that's what I am. And my specialty is employment law and I love my job. Like, I genuinely love employment law. I think it's the best area of law. My colleagues and my seniors also say employment law is the best area of law, and I believe them. It has been a journey. I have been on my legal journey for about 10 years, longer if you add like studying time. I was convinced at one point that the legal profession just wasn't for me because it just wasn't happening for me. I'm going to talk to you about why it's worth it. I'm going to talk to you about how I got to where I am, and I hope that this proves as courage and determination being like the core qualities that you should have as a lawyer, because that is what you need to be successful in the legal world. If you don't have patience in the legal world, I can tell you from now that your career probably won't last very long, but it's not something that you can't learn. So as a background about like who I am and what I did, as I said, I'm a qualified employment lawyer now, but I wasn't always qualified, and there's always a journey, and my journey was a very tough one, and I think any legal profession who qualifies a bit later can probably agree that it's a very stressful journey. I studied law at uni and I got a first class honours. You can also do a degree that's unrelated to law and then do a postgraduate diploma, which is called the GDL, and that's a graduate diploma in law, and you can just convert your degree that you did at uni into a law degree, and that's a 1-year course that enables you to then go on to do the legal practice course. Now, the legal practice course, the final intake in person was 2025 September, so that's just gone, and I believe the last intake will be online in 2026. Aside from that, I think that LPC is like completely scrapped. So the route that I took, it's very unlikely that a lot of you will take that route if you're looking into a legal career, but I think it's, you know, it's quite useful to know anyways. And the LPC and the SQE are very, very similar in the content, and the SQE is what you have to do now, and we'll talk about that a bit later. I got a distinction in my LPC with masters, which was brilliant. But it wasn't great because I didn't have a job. So I was pretty much like just jumping from contract to contract. I was doing a lot of agency work and I didn't have a training contract until I did. So then I found a training contract as I was graduating from my masters. It was a really great firm. I was so happy to join them. And long story short, they were racist. We left them. We then obtained another temporary role. At this point I was like so sick of it, and I was like, this is never going to happen for me, this is really tough, how am I going to find a job? So this 3-month contract turned into an ongoing position at a company, large company, and I basically convinced them to give me a training contract, train me as a lawyer so that I could become their own personal lawyer within their legal team. And it's been 6 years and I've been with the same company, and I qualified there as well, and we're a big legal team of about 40 people just in the UK. Yeah, and I take care of employment law matters with 8 other lawyers. So that's me, and that's how I got to where I am. Now obviously the route has now changed, and a lot of people will be pursuing the SQE route. That's when you do the SQE1 exam, the SQE2 exams, and you've got 2 years of qualifying work experience and then you're qualified. But I get so many messages of people saying I can't find an adequate job and I can't find the right job for me. Some employers won't sign off portfolios, which is really tragic. To qualify as a solicitor, you need to do the SQE exams and you need 2 years of qualifying work experience. And the qualifying work experience essentially acts as your training contract, but it's a lot easier to get, so you can work as a paralegal or a legal assistant. You don't have to have the title of trainee solicitor to sign off the work that you've done, which makes it a lot easier. Like, if I was able to do that, I probably would have qualified a very long time ago, and I did consider it, but it was just like a kind of like a pride thing. Like, I had done the LPC, I want to sit the SQE2 because you're exempt from the SQE1 if you've already done the LPC. And it kind of worked out for me, but in hindsight, like, maybe I should have done that and I would have qualified earlier. And obviously qualifying earlier means you make more money. The SQE exams are split into SQE1 and SQE2, and I haven't done the exams, but SQE, I'm reading off my phone, I've made some notes, but SQE1 is all about your legal knowledge, and this is split up into FLK1 and FLK2. And they're multiple choice questions only, which I don't know. I find multiple choice questions kind of hard sometimes, depending on the options. I guess if you're under a lot of pressure, I'd much prefer that than writing out, like, exam answers. The core areas are contract, tort, criminal, land. The SQE2 is more about your practical skills, which is also heavily influenced by the LPC. So they look at your legal writing, your drafting, interviewing and advocacy, practical skills based assessments as well. SQE1 must be passed before SQE2. I think that the real world is very different, and there is only so much you can learn from these exams that you do. Learn so much more in a practical environment where you're put on the spot and you're asked to give legal advice. But I do think that these practical skills that you learn in legal writing and drafting in particular really, really help and really shape the foundation of what it means to be a good lawyer. And the other element of qualifying via the SQE route is the qualifying work experience, which, as I said, it can be in any legal type of role. It just needs to be signed off by a solicitor, and it can also be across 4 organisations, which is amazing. Like, that is so great. If you got 4 contracts, 6 months each, at different employers, and all 4 were willing to sign off your legal experience, that would be amazing. But before taking a job, I'd definitely ask them if they were happy to sign it off. There is no point of working for an organisation hoping that they will sign off your qualifying work experience and then comes to the last minute and they're not willing to do that. And you can do the qualifying work experience before you do your SQE exams or after. So if you're currently in a legal position where you're working as a paralegal or a legal assistant and you're thinking, like, maybe I want to qualify as a solicitor, ask your employer if they will sign off your experience. It is great to have that portfolio built up already, so all that you have to do at the end of, a 2-year period, all you have to do is do your exams. That way, at least you know you have done a big chunk of what you need to do to qualify as a solicitor. That's what I would do anyway. Another route that I feel so passionate about, and I think it's because I was so convinced that this is the way that I was going to qualify, but it's the equivalent means route. The equivalent means route is kind of like the SQE, but you don't have to do the SQE1 and SQE2 exams if you've already done the LPC. Whilst I did my legal training, the SRA required me to meet 12 competencies, and as I was meeting those competencies, I was making like a journal of every single thing that I did every week. So I take like 3 big matters that I was dealing with every single week. I had them signed off by my training supervisor, and that was a requirement under the SRA requirements for a training contract. Still is. And it's the same for qualifying work experience under the SQE route. The equivalent means route is basically a retrospective training contract. I was a paralegal. I had been a paralegal, I think, for about maybe 3-ish years, 2-ish years at the same place that I'm currently working at. And you can get 6 months knocked off your training contract if you've already been working for a firm and they approve your 6-month discount, basically. What I needed to do was prove 18 months worth of examples of work that I have done that met the 12 competencies. I was so willing to do that. I was happy to do that. I had the conversation. But at that point, they were more than happy to give me a training contract and train me. That route is really, really underrated, because I think if you've done an LPC and you've been in a legal role, all you need to do is create a portfolio outlining all your experience, everything that you've done, so what you did, when you did it, who you worked with, and what you learned, and have that signed off by a solicitor. The perfect way to fast track your solicitor application to the SRA. I did my research and I went onto LinkedIn and I spoke to lots of individuals that had qualified using that route. I heard that it worked out really well for them. Some of these people are associates in really big law firms. I realised that this route existed because I kind of sat one day after work and I just thought, this cannot be this hard. I have picked up so many skills and I had like my own matters that I was dealing with. I was able to advise, I was comfortable talking to people. I felt like I had the knowledge. It goes back to learning so much more in a practical environment as opposed to having like book knowledge, because no matter how smart you are, if you don't have the people skills, I just think you can't be amazing at your job. I was like, this can't be this hard. There must be some kind of loophole. I was looking online and I couldn't find anything. Searched for so long and I couldn't find anything. So I took matters into my own hands, picked up the phone, called the SRA and said, hey, this is me. What can you do for me? Because I'm desperate to qualify. There are no training contracts and I need to progress in my career. I have the knowledge, I have the skill set. I know that I would make a good lawyer. What can I do? And a really lovely lady on the phone said, have a look at the equivalent means route. I think it might be the one for you. Didn't end up taking that route. For me, I just felt like the training contract route was better for me at the time. I felt like there was so much more I wanted to learn and I did want a job in employment law. Sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands and resilience is so important as a lawyer. So you need to keep going, stay determined. One of the questions that I get a lot is, what is it like being a solicitor? I really do enjoy my job, and I'm not just saying that because I'm sat here on YouTube talking about like the legal profession and how great it is. Obviously it is glamorized and it is still a job and it still has its stressful moments, still very high pressure at times. But I love using my brain and I feel like it really challenges me intellectually. A lot of people drop out of law in the first couple of years because it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of pressure. And I think that is kind of like private practice life. And I'm not trying to like throw digs at anyone. You know, everyone is different. I really do think that working in an in-house environment is very different. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some insight into what it is that I do. I get lots and lots of questions on my Instagram and TikTok and I really do hope that I can answer all of them. But if you got to the end of this video, then please press subscribe and let me know what kind of content you want from me, if it's more law stuff or if it's more like day-to-day stuff. But as ever, I appreciate you guys' support so much and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys!